Hey witches, welcome back on my channel. For this week's video, I felt like sharing quite an interesting experience I had back in August of 2021 when I went to see an energy healer. Now, if you don't believe in that kind of stuff, it's completely fine. I mean, I'm basically just gonna sort of say what she told me, stuff that I learned maybe, and I don't know, just in case you were wondering what it is like to go see an energy healer. I'm also gonna skip some bits that might be a little bit more personal or that I completely forgot because it was quite a long treatment. So anyway, let's just go. Let's just go. First of all, I call her an energy healer, but I don't think she had like a specific title. She was basically someone who feels energy and can manipulate it to help you move on from certain things. For example, if you had some trauma, like she can help you unclog that energy. So that's why I call her an energy healer, but I'm not sure specifically what she is. I'm speaking as if she's dead. She also can see past lives and I guess tap into some other realms. I don't know how it works, okay? But I'm just gonna tell you my experience with that and you can make out whatever you want out of that. Before any of you who don't believe in that tell me that I probably got scammed, well, it was all on contribution. So basically I could have left without giving her a single penny and she would have been fine with it. Obviously I didn't. I would have felt so bad to do so, but I could have. It ended up being like 2.5 hours long for me, and I went with my mom who was after me and hers was like 3 hours long. Yeah, all on contribution. By the way, this isn't like some kind of advertisement. I just want to tell my experience because it was quite interesting. I guess that would be the word. Interesting. She does that at home, so I went to her place and she has a specific office where she does that, and before I arrived she had picked a card from an oracle deck and then she had me pick one. I forget which one came first. I'm not sure which one she had picked and then the one that I picked, but then one of the cards was just to leave. Like 2 months prior to that, I had signed up for a program to go work abroad. I was still very much in that vibe of where like, I want to go, I want to leave, I can't wait for the pandemic to be over and just go somewhere else. So that card was just like, leave. I was like, okay, right on point. And then the other one we picked was from a past lives kind of deck and it said the orphan. At first she read in the little booklet that comes with it what the meaning of that card was. It was basically, in your life you've probably felt alone, felt like you needed to do things on your own, and like you've developed your own strength because, I don't know, because you felt alone, this type of thing. And I was like, yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense. Then we moved on and she had me face her window and she was just like, you can look at anything outside and I'm just gonna stand behind and sort of try to tune into your energy. And it didn't take long and she was like right away, oh, okay, it's quite strong, I feel it. Not to say that I'm strong, but just that I guess my energy was just out there. And then, I mean, she talked about a lot of things and like almost right away I started to cry. And then inevitably at some point she started talking about my dad who had passed away in 2020. And again, I forget what she was saying, but she was basically saying some stuff that he wanted to tell me. And at this point I was still looking out the window and she had like a little bench and underneath there was like a bin or like some kind of box. The box just like moved as if it got kicked, but like none of us was near it. And I was just like looking out the window. She was like, she had her eyes closed, kind of feeling things, and then I saw out of the corner of my eye this box being kicked basically. I was just like, what the hell? She opened her eyes. She was like, what happened? She was like, huh, strange. This has been there for weeks and obviously it hasn't moved. So she was just like, I guess he wants to tell you that he's there. And I was like, okay. This was like within the first, I don't know, 10 minutes of me being in that office. I was like, okay, cool, spooky stuff. Then she started saying that I had a lot of mornings to do in my life. And I don't know if she meant in all of my lives, if you believe in past lives, or just in that life here. And I guess that makes sense because I get attached to things and people and situations a lot, so that made sense. And like recently as well, I mean, that was my dad, but there were also other people in my life, so that also made sense. She was telling me I had a lot of mornings to do, but she also told me that I felt betrayed a lot. By the way, before getting there, like I didn't tell her anything. I just showed up there she was doing her thing. Oh, she told me later on as well that I was mourning an apartment. And I was just like, an apartment? It made sense. Like she was like, yeah, it was like a special place for you. And I do think I know which apartment she was talking about. I'm mourning places. Anyway, a lot of things that she said were pretty much on point. The thing is she knows my brother a little bit, but not a lot. She was like, you also a little bit like lost your place when your younger brother came along. And I looked at her, I was like, my younger brother? Because like he's older. And then she looked at me, she was like, wait, something's not right. Is he the younger brother? And I was just like, no, he's my older brother. And she was like, huh, interesting. The way she felt things, she was sure he was younger than me. And then she started tapping into something, apparently some past lives, and she just went like, oh, that's why we picked the orphan. And I was like, what? And she was like, so in a past life, you were the older brother and he was the younger sister, and you became orphans. You were put in an orphanage together. That I was like, oh, well, first of all, I wasn't expecting her to tell me that. Looking back at it, I was like, oh, that makes kind of sense. Like, because I don't know why, but all my life I was, I don't know, sort of inspired, I guess I could say. Inspired, or like I had some kind of interest in orphanages. Just like, you know, rooms with a lot of beds in it where everyone sleeps together. That whenever I'd see that in a movie or like read about it in a book, I was just like, yeah, that's the shit. I don't know why I resonated with that kind of vibe. So she told me that and I'm like, And then she started getting into that dramatic story, I'm telling you, straight out of a movie. So she was like, they promised you would get adopted together, but then she got adopted without you. And then you were shouting at her like, I'm gonna find you, I'm gonna find you. Anyway, the way she said it, she had like tears in her eyes and I had tears in my eyes. I was like, what's going on? Basically, we got like separated and we weren't supposed to, so I felt like betrayed. Fair enough. I mean, you tell me one thing, you do the opposite, bitch. So that's why she said we picked the orphan card, and then also why she thought he was younger. Because in this life, I still had like my big brother kind of energy. Makes kind of a bit of sense because I am quite protective of him. Not anymore, but I used to be when he'd get girlfriends and I wouldn't like them. I was just like, bitches. So anyway, that was one thing. Apparently she unclogged that energy and that past life was gone. Whatever feelings I had attached to that is gone. I don't feel no different, but we stayed up looking out the window for a long time. Then at some point I lied down. She also had another past life for me, which again, I wasn't expecting. Like if she would have told me you had a past life in Japan, you had a past life in England, I would have been like, yes, I knew that. I mean, I don't know for sure. I kind of wish she would have told me because I just don't know why I'm attached to those places. She told me that in a past life, I was in Africa and I had basically a stillborn baby. So again, mourning that I basically spent the rest of my life mourning that baby that I never had, judging myself for not being able to do the one thing that a woman is supposed to do. I also, in that lifetime, apparently had a violent husband. And then she also had that energy leave, where it gets interesting. And again, I don't know how it works. When she did that, she was like, oh, I can see like now where that stillborn baby is, like in this lifetime. Apparently, he's a monk. But like she could see basically a monk feeling relief because I unclogged that energy and so it unclogged something for him as well. And she could see a monk with a lotus flower, basically just putting a lotus on his heart as a thank you. And I was like, oh, that's cute. Not gonna lie, I did feel a little proud of of my baby that he was now a monk and being probably a better person than I am. There's something interesting with that I'm gonna tell you a little later. Then at some point, you know, she's working on my energy, she's feeling things, and then she goes, have you ever, like in your dreams or in real life, ever seen some like brown creatures that sort of look like insects, that look like leaves, like brown leaves? And I was like trying to think, like in my dreams, I don't know. And then she goes, oh no, wait, they're telling me that they never showed themselves, okay? And then she was like, oh well, maybe in the forest, maybe you've seen like glimpses of them. I don't think I have. Like I've seen bugs in the forest, but that's normal, right? And then it ended there. The biggest tease of the universe. Like she didn't tell who the fuck they were, she didn't tell me what they wanted, she didn't tell me how to see them. It ended there. She moved on to something else. I want to see them. I've done researches. afterwards and I wasn't able to find anything. If they're a type of fairy or whatever, I don't know. Also, every time I've been walking in the forest ever since, I'm like walking like this. Like, bitch, where are you? Couldn't see them. Couldn't see them. Okay, then she moved on to something else, and that part I think was the most interesting one. I don't know, everything was interesting, but at some point she has her eyes closed and she goes, I see a little girl very often in the dark. She was like, were you afraid of the dark when you were younger? No. But I was like, I was afraid of my basement. And she's like, okay, well, yeah, that's like hugely dark. To this day, there's a dream that I had when I was, I think 3 years old, but I'm not sure. I was like very young, that I remember quite vividly still. And that is the reason why I was afraid of my basement all the way to high school. I told her that. I was like, well, I had a dream in my basement that like scared me when I was younger. And she was just like, tell me about that dream. Basically, the dream is me. I go down in the basement, and during that time, my parents and my brother left without me to go shopping. So I'm basically all alone. I go in the basement and the lights turn off on their own. And at that moment, there's like a room at the back of my basement. From that room, there are like ghosts that come out and start running towards me and then turning around my head. I'm trying to scream, but I can't. It's just like, you know, this specific feeling in a dream when you're screaming at the top of your lungs, but not a single sound is coming out. And then my brother came back and turned on the light, and then they were all gone. So that's the dream that traumatized me. So I told her about that dream, and she was just like, that's it. You have a strong light, inner light, and that light attracts spirits. And she basically told me that when I was younger, I turned off that light to protect myself so they would stop coming. And she was like, it's a clever move, but also not, because that means you turned off completely your inner light, which, I don't know, brings light to your life. Ah. Cool. Now, I don't have any memories of seeing ghosts when I was younger, unless I forgot. There is one thing that I do remember, though, that I'm pretty sure was not a dream, because it happened often, but I'm pretty sure it happened after that dream, so I don't know exactly when I'm supposed to have turned off that light. There is one thing that I remember, and it is that I used to see death. Now, probably not death, but that's how young me rationalized it. It's not really irrational, but hear me out. It's just because it looked like the typical shape of death, which is basically a shadow with like a raggedy clothes. You know, could have been a Dementor. That kind of vibe. So I would see something like that at night when I was in my bed. So the way my room was is when I was laying in bed, I could look straight into the hallway. And I don't know why I would look straight in the hallway when I was supposed to sleep. And then at some point I would see this kind of shadow just slowly walk towards me. It really didn't feel like a dream. Yeah, it would just sort of disappear whenever I'd close my eyes and be like, it should be gone. And you know, it could be because I was like half asleep or something like that, but I know it happened once when I was in the living room as well. And I just thought to myself, maybe it only happens when I'm in my room. I'm gonna try and just look straight at the hallway while in the living room. And it happened again. It just slowly walked towards me. Yeah, that's the one thing I remember. Was it a ghost? Was it not? Was it death? Was it just a Dementor? Plot twist, I am Harry Potter. So anyway, I didn't tell her that because I didn't think about it on the spot, but I told her about my dream. She was like, you turned off your light. You basically attract spirits. You should turn on your light. It's gonna be better for you anyway. Like, I know how to do that. And then she was like, you can also help them go into the light, help them pass on. And she explained to me how to do that, but honestly, if I can't even feel them or know that they're there, how am I supposed to do that, right? So yeah, anyway. So if you guys are interested in following me along on my journey to turn on my light, subscribe. No, I don't know. Anyway, so those were the big sort of things that she told me. But then there's also some other weird stuff that happened. At some point she was just like, oh, I feel your throat really clogged. And from that I was just like, okay, she's the real deal, because it is. Pretty much, I don't know all my life, but I've had a lot of problems with my throat in general, or like when I'm too stressed, issues with my throat. I've often felt like clogged here or like strained when I sing. Not as much anymore, but I used to like really like strain and like feel blocked in here. Just like, She was like, we're gonna clean that. So she was like, you know, you can like remove your chakras and put them back in, right? I was like, no, I don't know. Anyway, so apparently you can remove your chakras. So she apparently took out my throat chakra and she was like, I'm gonna go clean behind because I can clean around, but like it's really behind it. And it was weird. Like she was doing out of my throat like this, like sort of this movement and then going like it really felt like whatever she was getting out of there, like the energy she was getting out of there. Yeah, I pictured it like some really long, wet hair you would take out of your drain. Really gross image. It really felt like it was gooey. And then she was like, boop, popped it back in, and apparently I was clean. And I was like, oh damn, I'm gonna be able to sing like fucking Madonna, like Celine. Not really, but I did improve a lot. I don't know, just like that. So she also then showed me how to ground myself. And she was like, you more than some other people get grounded easily with nature. Like just sitting in the grass, you like ground yourself instantly. And I was like, yes, that I kind of knew already. In the summer, in the spring, I love to sit in the grass. But anyway, yeah, she told me how to visualize like some energy going all the way from my feet into the ground, and then energy going from like my head all the way to the sun. She was just like, this is gonna ground you and also connect you there. You're like gonna be centered kind of thing. At some point also during this whole treatment, like here and there, she would get thoughts from my dad, and at some point he just said move. But then she also could feel that I had some hesitation because, and she was right about that. Anyway, so she ended up saying, I guess she knew that I had some hesitation about leaving. She was just like, whatever you think, it's not gonna alter any relationship, it's not gonna change anything in a bad way, basically. Again, I did not tell her anything, but I did have some hesitations concerning my family, and I still do sometimes because my nephew is still really young, and I was like, if I leave for like 2 years, he's so young, I'm gonna miss so many important parts. And she had told me just before that, she was like, you have a really strong relationship with that baby. And I was like, yeah, I mean, he's my nephew, but like, it's almost like he's mine sometimes. I mean, I am happy when he leaves, but so she did like reassure me in some ways about many things, but that specifically. And then eventually it was the end, and she was like, let's just pick 2 more cards to give you some encouragement, or like if there's more insight that you need to know. One of them was the guardian angel. There wasn't much about it. She was just saying that my guides were there and telling me that they were gonna be there. Still don't know who the fuck they are. But they're there. Whenever I look at the clock, it's like always an angel number, and I'm like, does it mean anything, or are you just saying hi? Because like, hi, but like I've told you 5 times already, like stop. But then that's when we'll see if you've been paying attention. She picked the card that was named Peace, and on it was a monk with a bunch of lotus flowers. She picked it and she was just like, oh my god. And I was like, oh my god, what the hell? So it kind of became like full circle type of thing. It was just weird, like the fact that she would pick, well, I say she, but I picked them cards, that specific card, after telling me one of my past lives. And like, anyway, overall, that was pretty much my experience going to an energy healer. So anyway, I hope you liked this video. I know it was kind of random. For quite a while, I wanted to tell that experience. So here it is. Let me know down in the comments if you would like to experience something like that as well at some point. Let me know if you've experienced something like that, and like, did something weird happen? Did they tell you some insightful stuff? Just let me know all of that. If you like this video, please give it a big fat like. And if I get enough likes, maybe I'll do some other video like that, like weird experiences type of thing. So give it a like if you would like to see that. If you like this video and this type of content, please subscribe to my channel. It helps a lot and it basically keeps me going. So if you want to keep me going, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you probably next week with a new video. But in the meantime, you can follow me on all of my social media to see what I do. On this note, I'm gonna go probably meditate because that camera frustrated me so much that I could break it. Bye.